I am very happy to have had a chance to mess with Arbortech's newest device here. This is their SpheroPlane, and the name is going to make a lot more sense in just a second. Here's what's going on with this. So you've seen cutting tools from Arbortech before. I've got a cutter here. One of the things that's great about this is these are replaceable inserts. So I can replace them, and or when one side is dull, I can loosen it, turn it to a fresh part, turn it to a fresh part. So there's a lot of life in those cutters. But what the SpheroPlane is really about is making it easier to do convex and concave surfaces. And here's the way that works. There's a bail on here. When I unlock that, I can turn this ring, and watch when I turn the ring, the relationship between this collar, outrigger, and the cutter. So as I turn the ring, I'm changing the distance. I'm projecting the cutter out. As I turn the ring in the other direction, the cutter's going in. And again, I've changed the relationship between the cutter and the outrigger. What's the deal with that? Well, I've got a bowl that I made, and just for you, I cut it into a section so that we could look at this. So concave, convex, what happens here is that when I allow the cutter to project slightly past that collars, that outrigger, that's going to facilitate me being able to do a consistent concave. Because what's happening here is that it's almost like a depth of cut limiter, the collar, in that when this collar is touching that concave surface, it's helping to control how much contact the cutter has with what I'm cutting. So it makes it a lot easier to get a nice uniform shape on that concave. Now, similarly, let's take that same thing and apply it. Open up the bail, turn this so that I'm pulling the cutter up above the collar, like that. Then on the outside of the bowl, we get the same positive effect, which is that outrigger rides, and it's going to make it much easier to get that convex on the outside. So let's throw this on. Now the other thing that's definitely noteworthy is that the cutter can come off and a hook and loop sanding head can go on there. So once you're done with the cutting component of your job, then you can start the sanding component of your job and clean everything up. And of course, with this, we have dust collection. And that's part of the reason for this bail here is that's going to allow you to control this position so that you can keep that dust hose where you want it. And then the bail also gets used in order to facilitate taking this back off of the angle grinder itself. So I've already got a bowl that's complete. Let's have a look at that process. One of the things I want you to watch for is how effective the dust collection is on this tool. And let's have a look at that birch bowl I made. I have got a lovely piece of birch set up here to do some carving on with the SpheroPlane. And what I really like about this piece of birch is this is a tree that went down in my yard. I milled this, I dried it. It's going to be very fun to turn it into a bowl. I've got the SpheroPlane set so that it is for concave, meaning the cutter is projecting slightly past. On my work, I've got circles. And the big circle out here, that defines what will be the rim of the bowl when I'm done. Don't want to go beyond that. These inner circles, they just help as you're working to make sure you stay concentric as you start to hollow this out. Ready to go? now that that first dish is set, I'm going to increase my depth of cut just a little bit. A thing to really watch is dust collection and the fact that there is no airborne stuff here. This is doing a great job of grabbing the dust and taking it into the vacuum instead of leaving it in the air for me. It's really looking good. I am gonna just keep doing what I'm doing. There's a lot of rinse and repeat going on here, and just keep hollowing, working my way out to that larger circle that defines the rim, and take away everything that doesn't look like a bowl, I guess. So one thing I've learned here, like any tool, let the tool do the work. And what I mean by that is the way the SpheroPlane is set up is to help you control your depth of cut, inside radius, outside radius. So when it's correctly set, just like I was doing here, you can glide across without getting a lot of without getting a lot of digging. So as I work on finish passes, I want to make sure that that setting is right, the projection of the cutter beyond, to make sure that I'm not getting a bunch of digging and I'm cleaning it up. Over here, I still need to just work my way back a little bit, want to come back to that pencil line. And the other thing to pay attention to is you want to make a bowl, not a funnel. So a really easy way to monitor progress is if I do this and I measure to the table, if that's 2.5 inches out there and 1.5 inches in there, there's currently 1 inch below the center of the bowl. That's plenty of wall thickness. So I'm actually going to go, I want to get this center part down a little bit more, and of course leave the rim alone. So I'm going to increase depth of cut, and I'm going to keep hollowing here in order to get more depth, and then eventually we'll flip her over and start working on the outside. got that depth where I want to be. Right now there's about a 1/2 inch of thickness between the bottom of the concave and the bottom of the blank. So next I'm going to switch to the sander and we'll start cleaning up these tool marks. Got the sanding head on, and next step is just take away the machine marks left by the cutter and get this looking pretty. And again, I'm super impressed by a couple things. One, how quickly that starts looking better, how fast the sanding goes. And then two, the effectiveness of the dust collection is amazing. I'm taking off quite a bit of material here as I clean this up, 120 grit paper, and there's nothing airborne. So little ways to go, and this is looking better already. Inside of the bowl is all sanded, got it flipped over, and once again I'm going to use rings to help keep all my cuts concentric. On the bottom, this ring is going to become the base of the bowl. So it's like the rim, but opposite. I'm cutting up to it this way and allowing that to define the base. On the SpheroPlane, now we're set for convex instead of concave, and start taking this outside corner off and then just keep working our way down from there. Really shaping nicely, and same as I said before, take advantage of what the SpheroPlane offers to glide over this and lay out, smooth out all the highs and the lows. I'm going to do a little bit more shaping, then back to the sanding head, clean the back up, and I'm loving how this birch is looking. Cleaned it up with the sander on the SpheroPlane, and now I'm just finishing with a little bit of hand sanding, but here's what we've got. I love it. I can't wait to get this sanded out and get some finish on that. That birch is going to be beautiful. I love how this came out. I love doing this freehand power carving with the Arbortech tools. I really like the way the SpheroPlane makes it so simple to get uniform concave and uniform convex. Now, in the world of convex, the other thing you could do with this is stick with only convex, and you could make wooden spheres, wooden balls. That's where the name comes from. So I love the way this simplifies my job of getting a consistent curve going inside and outside the bowl. This was really fun to do.